Do not be afraid of love or the course it will take. There is no certainty in life. Choose love first and choose love last, and it will give you more than you ever gave it. Every human being deep down longs for affection and a meaningful connection. As infants, just the presence of a caregiver who comforts us when we cry already shapes how we see love. Yet, as adults, when a partner genuinely loves us, many of us build walls. I know that feeling. The closer someone got, the more I felt like running. A certain level of fear is natural. Love is uncertain, but when the fear becomes so strong that it blocks connection, we may be experiencing philophobia. Psychiatrist Dr. Nara defines philophobia as the excessive fear of falling in love. And psychologist Dr. Romina Tavina explains that this fear often stems from attachment patterns and defense mechanisms formed in childhood. If your mother struggled with anxiety or depression, you may have learned insecurity. If your father was emotionally distant, you may have carried that template of coldness into adulthood. These early patterns whisper to us, "This is what love is like," and we keep repeating the script. When I look back, I realize fear of love never showed up as a loud voice yelling, "Run away." Instead, it crept in through little patterns. The first one was being overly critical. I remember one night Jenny had planned a simple anniversary dinner. She cooked lit candles and even left me a little handwritten note. But my mind fixated on the fact that she forgot to buy dessert. Instead of thanking her for all the effort, I pointed out what was missing. The look in her eyes still hurts me today. That wasn't about her. It was my inner critic projecting. Psychologists call this the self-critical inner voice. The harsher we are with ourselves, the more that harshness spills onto the ones we love most. It's almost like a defense mechanism. If I convince myself Jenny isn't enough, maybe losing her will hurt less. But in reality, I was just building a wall that pushed her away. The second sign was detachment. Imagine your partner opening up about something deeply emotional, and instead of leaning in, you feel yourself shutting down. Jenny once shared about a conflict with her coworker that left her in tears. And there I was, listening with half a heart, avoiding eye contact, numb. Not because I didn't care, I did, but because true closeness made me feel unsafe. Dr. Firestone calls this emotional detachment, and it's a classic protective strategy. The child in me had learned long ago, don't get too close or you'll get hurt. That wall gave me temporary safety, but at the cost of intimacy. Then comes second guessing. After a wonderful date, I'd lie in bed and a whisper would creep in. She's just being polite. She's not that into you. The joy of connection instantly twisted into suspicion. Psychology explains this as a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you expect rejection, you unconsciously act in ways that push people away. I once picked a fight with Jenny the very next morning after a beautiful evening just to test if she really cared. Deep down, I wasn't doubting her. I was doubting whether I deserved love in the first place. And the last sign is secrecy. Instead of speaking up, I swallowed my feelings. When something bothered me, I kept it hidden, thinking it was safer not to rock the boat. But silence is a slow poison. Over time, the relationship feels like living with a stranger you're together, but never fully known. Therapist Alison Gomez explains that fear of intimacy often makes people avoid asking for what they need. For me, secrecy was a way to lower expectations. If I never revealed too much, I wouldn't be disappointed. But what it really did was rob me of depth, leaving love stranded on the surface. What changed me wasn't one big breakthrough, but small, repeated choices. The first was learning to recognize that inner critic. Every time I caught myself nitpicking Jenny, I paused and asked, is this truly her flaw, or is this my fear speaking? That moment of awareness gave me power. Slowly, I realized most of my criticisms weren't about her at all. They were echoes of the voice I'd carried since childhood telling me nothing was ever enough. The second practice was presence. I'll never forget one evening when Jenny came home exhausted, venting about her day. My instinct was to withdraw. But I made myself put the phone down, sit close, and listen without interrupting. At first it felt uncomfortable, almost threatening, but then something shifted. As I simply sat there with her, I noticed the wall inside me soften. Psychology calls this exposure by facing what we fear. In this case, vulnerability over and over, the fear loses its grip. Third, I started rewriting the script. I grew up believing love equals abandonment. Every cell in my body expected rejection. So I began a nightly ritual writing down one moment when Jenny showed up for me that day. Sometimes it was big, like cooking dinner. Other times, just a smile. Over weeks, those notes became evidence against my old belief. I was teaching my brain love can be safe, nurturing, and mutual. The most powerful change came when I practiced vulnerability. One day I confessed to Jenny, "Sometimes I push you away because I'm scared you'll leave me first." My voice trembled, expecting her to step back. But instead, she reached for my hand and said, "I'm not going anywhere." That moment changed everything. The fear didn't vanish, but it loosened. Vulnerability felt like weakness, but it turned out to be strength, the very soil where intimacy grows. I also built small habits, writing a gratitude journal about our relationship, daring to say I love you first, even when my chest was tight, and agreeing to little requests that required trust, like joining Jenny at events where I'd normally avoid closeness. These small steps built resilience, almost like training a muscle. Over time, I learned that fear didn't have to vanish before I loved. Love itself was the practice that melted fear. And that's why today I believe, yes, love is risky. It can break your heart. It can leave scars. But avoiding love is also a loss because it robs us of one of life's most fulfilling experiences. We don't get certainty in this world, but we do get choices. I choose love even if it means loss, because I'd rather love and lose than never love at all. If you've ever found yourself pulling away just when love feels real, you're not broken, you're human. And you can learn to lean in again. Tell me in the comments if you've noticed yourself doing this, and share your story. You never know who might need to hear it. If this video resonated with you, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to Hi Day Psych, and hit the bell so we can keep walking this journey together. Because love demands courage, but it also gives us more than we could ever imagine. And remember, no matter where you